On this week's episode, Drew Barrymore is trying to bury the hatchet with writers on strike. Captain America gets married in Massachusetts. One Piece is one hot piece of fun. And which movie deserves a Muppets makeover? This is The Hub on Hollywood. I'm James.
I'm Jamie. Let's meep, 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 or something
waka,
like that. Waka waka. Here we go. All right.
All right, welcome back to another episode of The Hub on Hollywood. Jamie, welcome back to another episode. You were on assignments. I understand that you were visiting a local Comic-Con.
Yeah, sure. I was on assignment, right? I was at the Manchester, New Hampshire Comic-Con. Where it was a great time. They had tons of vendors, events, improv, panels, tons of cosplay, great cosplayers, in particular Star Wars and others. So that's always a good time. If you were there at the Manchester, New Hampshire Comic-Con, drop us a line, send us a picture, we'll share your stuff. I personally, you might have seen me, I was running around dressed as Sasuke Uchiha from Naruto, because my brother just had this kick-ass costume that he lent to me, and I just got a short haircut, James. So I just got I got the Sasuke, I guess.
Nice.
So that was
Your brother goes all out, by the way.
He does. He really does. He builds everything. So does
he have a 3D printer?
No, he builds that all with foam by hand. So he does Gundams and all of these giant builds, and he'll do the weapons as well. He builds them out of wood, out of foam, out of metal. So, I mean, he's just incredibly talented. Shout out to my brother Jason. But I'd love to hear from, our listeners who are also incredibly talented. And so, if you were there, send us a picture. We'll give you a shout out. Hub on Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. Send us your photo. Send us a message at Hub on Hollywood on all the social media platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and do we have another one? We're trying to still do Threads, but we're at Hub on Hollywood. Send us your photo. We will share that as well. Jamie, did you see, by any chance, any Captain Americas at that Comic-Con?
I might have seen one or two. But it sounds like the real deal wasn't too far away.
Yeah, we got our own Captain America visiting Massachusetts, where he is from. Chris Evans, none other, the Avengers star. And I would say, I know people say Iron Man's the leader of the Avengers, but I think Captain America is like the real leader.
Ooh, hot take.
Is that controversial?
Well, the whole Iron
fight?
Man versus Captain America, they did a whole movie about that.
You're right.
Yeah, I'd say that's a
Captain
hot take.
Won. Well, you know what else? What is not a hot take? Love. Love is not a hot take, and that is what Captain America, Chris Evans, was all about recently. He got married on Cape Cod over the one of the past several weekends to his longtime girlfriend, Alba Baptista. It was during a private wedding ceremony on Cape Cod. Fortunately, before Hurricane Lee passed by this weekend, so that was good. But it was a star-studded event. Because, of course, where's Captain America without his team? Avengers co-stars Robert Downey Jr. was there, Chris Hemsworth was there, Jeremy Renner was there in attendance, as well as Newton native John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. They were spotted dining at a diner restaurant on Newbury Street. So, welcome back to Boston, Chris Evans, and your lovely wife, and congratulations. Beautiful stuff.
Well, Chris is a local boy, and this is just the place of love. New England is where people come to fall in love. I mean, Ryan Reynolds met his wife here on set, and a number of other celebrities. It's just, we've got that history, especially in the fall, the cool breeze, the beautiful, the beautiful city.
It's romantic.
And it's very romantic. This is the place to be. So it doesn't surprise me in the least, but we're so happy to host him and his A-list guest list. Some of whom I believe have been spotted in and around town, but just congratulations to Cap. I know that he's talked about how much he wants to start a family, and his wife is just absolutely stunning. So those are going to be just very beautiful super babies.
Yeah, but you know what was very surprising, not only for myself or yourself, but I think the world had to do a double take when they read this headline. Hugh Jackman
I
addresses that
know.
he and his wife of 27 years are separating. Crazy. I did not see this coming.
No, and Hugh Jackman, everybody loves Hugh Jackman. He's got such a lovable personality. But these things happen, James. Sometimes people grow apart, and they were married for 27 years. And for all intents and purposes, it seems like this is a mutual decision. Perhaps they've grown apart, they're heading in different directions. But it doesn't seem to me that there's anything darker sort of under this at all,
Right.
which you would hope not. Hugh Jackman, who's famously kind and funny and charitable, I'd hate to see that there was maybe a seedy underside to any of this. So far that's not
I don't
looking to be
know.
the case.
Well, the couple, they did make an announcement on Friday saying, quote, "Our journey now is shifting and we have decided to separate to pursue our individual growth." And apparently the next day, Hugh Jackman was spotted by paparazzi and they approached him, of course, as they do. And he just told them that they were going through a difficult time right now. It's just very surprising, very tough situation. Hopefully both are okay, and this is the best decision for whatever reason. They got married back in '96, and they adopted 2 children together. So not an easy situation for anybody at all. So, you win some, you lose some. So I don't know what else to say, but that was very surprising.
Now, bringing this...
What else is surprising?
Oh, so,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, but bringing this back to Ryan Reynolds for a second, James. Listen, do you think this split has anything to do with Deadpool and Hugh Jackman coming out?
I think Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are going to marry each other.
Well, that and Hugh Jackman coming out of retirement to film this movie after being Wolverine for so many years, and then finally taking a break from that, and then coming back out of retirement to do it all over again. That puts a strain on any relationship, but when you add in the beautiful, gorgeous Ryan Reynolds and the love affair that obviously he and Jackman have, I mean, just connect your own dots, people.
Yeah, the truth is out there. We're going to find out. We're going to find out if Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds get married on the Cape. If they do get married down on Cape Cod, we're going to be the first ones to know and to report it.
Right here on the Hub on Hollywood.
Yeah. Right here on the Hub on Hollywood. But, talking about surprises, this one, this is an episode full of surprises. I am surprised yet again. I'm hitting my surprise quota for the week. I can't take any more. But I'm very surprised to hear that Drew Barrymore has been caught up. Maybe she created this own problem, the situation that has people striking outside of where she films her daytime talk show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Drew, okay. Yes, Drew created this. Drew came out and said that despite the strike, right, the ongoing strikes with the WGA, the Writers Union, and SAG-AFTRA, that she was going to bring back her talk show without her union writers. And initially, she had put out this statement saying that she owns this decision and that, her motivation behind this was to get everybody back to work, or to get as many people as she could back to work. And look, I understand the inclination. However, Drew way missed the mark here. She way missed the mark on what was happening. So she did say, this is bigger than me. It's bigger than just myself. And her motivation was to get more people back to work. Okay, fine. Okay. However, Drew, it is bigger than you. Yeah. It is bigger than your one talk show. It is the entire industry. It is all of these creative people that are involved in film and television. And this is their moment, right? This is the time when they are taking the stand. They are fighting for so many things that if they don't make progress on right now, they will not be able to make a living doing what we do, writing and acting in film and television, into perpetuity, right?
Now, let me
the
play
entire...
devil's advocate really quick.
Okay, go for it.
So, Drew, after the news that her show was going to come back on the air, she released this short video apologizing for the decision, as you said, owning up to it. But she said, they are going to move forward and move on, citing the need for other people on the staff, other than the writers, to get back to work and to continue making money for their own pay and stuff. And so, is it possible that she can do a WGA strike-friendly show? I know there are segments where she comments on the daily topics, the news of the day, and those are obviously put together, aggregated by writers and producers and whatnot. But she also has a large portion of her show being a talk show portion, and you don't need writers for the talk show portion. So are we getting too angry at Drew? Is she receiving too much backlash in general from people? When it's possible that her show could change during this strike to not involve or include the writers? What are your thoughts?
Listen, I don't think so. I don't think that people are taking this too far. I don't think that people are more angry than they should be. I think that it has stoked an appropriate amount of anger, because I think she's just completely missed the point. The point is we're all connected to this strike that's happening right now, right? And the point is to show how many people are affected by it. And yes, people are absolutely struggling. But to your point of, could she do something else that would be strike friendly? Absolutely, she could. She could take after Strike Force 5, right? The Jimmy Fallons, the Jimmy Kimmels, the Stephen Colbert, and a couple of the late night hosts that have come together, and they're putting together a podcast. And they're using that podcast in a way employ some of the people that need to be employed, and and to create content during this time. These people, including Drew Barrymore, they make money. They get paid. They could take some of their pay and keep some of their workers afloat out of their own paycheck. That's another thing that she could be doing.
That is what Conan O'Brien did. That's what Conan O'Brien did back in the day when there was the other strike, that the show eventually came back on the air, but he continued to pay his writers and staff salary out of pocket, and the show was done without writers, and so it was some of the best television I've ever seen, because people still reference that period, showing how some segments was just Conan spinning a ring on a table to see how long he can do it, and doing a lot of little wacky gags that didn't incorporate or need writers. A big advocate for the strike and for the people in the tough situation, but again, he paid for the salaries out of his own pocket. Does that mean every rich talk show should be footing the bill for the rest of their staff, the cast and the members? I don't know. I don't know if they should feel obligated to do that. Would it be cool if they did that? Absolutely. I think Drew Barrymore has a net worth of $125 million, so it's possible. And so I don't know. I think it can be a gray area. I know Bill Maher, his show Real Time, is coming back as well. He talked about, he said, it's without writers. He said, it's been 5 months and it's time to bring people back to work. He sympathizes with it, but he says, other people other than the writers need to start making money again as well. And that's, the crew and everything that entails. So, so I don't know. It is a tricky situation. It is definitely a tricky situation, and the heat is on. The pain, it's getting really painful. So we're 5 months into the writers' strike in particular, and this is another thing that pissed people off a lot. If you'll remember, is the studios. The studio execs reportedly saying, we're going to try to starve them out. That we're not going to come to the table, we're not going to negotiate, we're not going to come to a deal until these people are about to lose their apartments and, they can't buy food and things like that. So it is dramatic. It is a painful situation that hopefully comes to an end soon, but I feel like there are better ways of doing it that, support
the strike, support the moment, support the being able to get a deal that will allow people to make, to have a living and a livelihood after this point that is not just totally giving in and capitulating. So it's tough. It is tough, James. It is tough. But Drew, so Drew doubled down, she tripled down, and now she has backed down. And she says that she will no longer be resuming her show until the strike is over. So I think that everybody's feeling it.
We did it.
Everybody's feeling the heat. Everybody's feeling the pressure. And I cannot remember another moment like this where it's been such an intense standoff on multiple fronts with multiple unions, at least not in my lifetime. So it remains to be seen where this will go. And, James, I'm in the union. I am hurting. I want to work.
Yeah.
But, the need is there. Like, it's a crazy necessity for the changes that need to be made and struck. So we will see where that continues to go, how it ends. The WGA coming back to the table with the studios next week after a month-long pause since the last time they spoke. So we will see if anything can be accomplished in the coming week. But my last thought on this, James, and I want to get your thought too. If the smaller studios, right, I'm talking about the interim agreement that SAG-AFTRA has for certain productions with like the indie studios, if the smaller studios can meet all of the dream demands, that every single thing that SAG-AFTRA is asking for, there's no reason why the big giant studios can't do the same. So where do you have any hope for this coming closer to a conclusion?
I know the WGA, they're back talking on Monday. Honestly, no, this isn't going to get settled. I don't think this week. I don't think next week. I think it's still going to be going on for, I hate to say it, but at least another month. I feel like it still hasn't hit certain people in the wallets hard enough yet. It's definitely hitting hard, but not hard enough yet, where the game plan was to just string writers along until they buckle. But I think there's a lot more patience and strength for the union members to continue this fight, and then we'll really find out if some other groups in this can really withstand the storm,
right,
which I don't think they can.
I mean, and the studios are starting to feel it. Warner Brothers came out and said that they're projecting a $300 to $500 million loss in revenue for this year as a result of the strike. Some projections have it that if they gave in to every demand, right, of SAG-AFTRA that they were asking for, it would have cost them about $70 million. And they're already looking at about $500 million rather in losses as a result. So hopefully they do that math pretty quickly, and I think it would benefit everybody across the table if we just decided to pay people who make your TVs and make your movies what they deserve.
Don't be silly, Jamie. That sounds ridiculous.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not seeing the downside here, but, whatever.
No.
I'm biased. So.
Well, the strike may not be coming to an end soon, but you know what else is not coming to an end soon?
What?
At least not right now.
What's that?
One Piece.
Woo! That's right. So it's been renewed for a second season. If you haven't caught One Piece, the live action adaptation of the very popular anime on Netflix right now. Where the heck have you been? Go, run, extend your stretchy arms, get the remote control. How convenient would that be if you could actually stretch like Stretch Armstrong? If we were all made of rubber like Luffy. So for those of you who
yeah, that'd be crazy.
For those of you who don't know, One Piece is the story of Monkey D. Luffy and his pirate crew who are exploring a fantastical world of endless oceans and exotic islands in search of the ultimate treasure so that Luffy can become the next pirate king. Now, are you into anime, manga, anything like that?
Not really. I do like One Punch Man. Never really got into Dragon Ball Z as a kid. So entirely no, but not that I don't like it. I just never really got into it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a big anime person, and I've watched and I have read a lot of anime, a lot of manga, mostly like Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, but also Ouran High School Host Club, Fruits Basket. Like, I'm more of a shoujo girl, right? I'm more of the romantic, cutesy sort of girly mangas. So I never actually got into One Piece. I mean, I've done Naruto, I've done like all of these like big, epic, popular animes, but One Piece is just the one piece I didn't get into. Even if you are not into anime, even if you are not into mangas or anything like that, this is a story that anyone can enjoy. It's got mainstream appeal, and I think that's why it's so popular right now on Netflix. Not only that, not only does it have a solid story, entertaining characters, a plot that goes at a good clip, it's also got practical makeup and costuming. But among the many very shitty, let's just say it, and let's just be honest, among the very, very crappy live action adaptations of comics or anime, this is among the best. This is among the best that has been done. And part of that is they haven't radically changed the story. They haven't radically altered the characters. The characters in One Piece are fantastical. They can do incredible things. But instead of relying heavily on CGI and sort of just computer nonsense, as much as humanly possible, this anime relies on practical makeup, practical effects, incredible costuming, and this really funky, like, just engaging cinematography that makes it feel like you are reading the manga, like you are reading the comic. And everything is just so beautifully framed that it feels like you're flipping a page. It feels like you're going from one comic square to the next comic square, and somehow it works, and it's just so beautiful in the way that it flows, and yet it's not overdone. So I highly recommend One Piece on Netflix right now. It's got about an 8.5 out of 10 rating. You do not have to be an anime nerd like me to enjoy it. You don't have to know anything about the story. It can get very dark and it can get violent, but I think that and also the characters. The main character is played by Iñaki Godoy, who it takes you a little bit to get used to his manner of speaking, but after you do, you can really get sucked into this story.
Yeah, I've seen some interviews, some promotional stuff, and the main actor that you mentioned. In the interviews alone, he's very charismatic. He's very likable. And so I think it's good that you have somebody who is able to bring that charisma to the screen, and that definitely helps. One of the funnier things I've heard about people who said they like and enjoy this show and are happy that season 2, somebody says One Piece got renewed faster than Cowboy Bebop got canceled. That was, of course, another Netflix adaptation that sank very, very quickly. So I thought that was really funny. And not too into anime just because I haven't really gotten into it, but this is a show that looks interesting enough for me to jump in and check it out. So Cowboy Bebop, not Cowboy Bebop, One Piece, the good one. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Yeah, let us know at Hub on Hollywood on the social media platforms. Comment down below about what your thoughts are, about what you think about the cast, the acting, the visuals. We want to hear. No, this is getting a lot of really good buzz.
It is, and well deservedly so. Cowboy Bebop. Look, just watch the anime. There's nothing more that a live action could add to that. I mean, Cowboy Bebop is just pure perfection. It didn't need a live adaptation. Very few things do, but of those that do get created, again, One Piece is among the best. So go and check it out on Netflix.
Excellent, excellent. Now, talking about a buzz, we need to build some buzz around our pitches for which movie deserves a Muppets makeover. I got really into this idea.
Yeah, it sounds
so
like
earlier
it.
this week, Jamie, I sent you a picture. Somebody had asked, just asked the internet. Where is it? Let me find it right here. The question was, pick a movie. Keep one actor, the rest are played by Muppets. And it had a great list of people, throwing out different movies of which movies should be Muppetized. And I thought, hey, I think that's a great topic. Let's do our own casting for a new Muppets rebooted movie. In this case, we're picking more than one live action actor because I think that'll make it work. Because most Muppets movie they have actual several humans in it, so I think it's fair to include several live action humans and then cast everyone else as the Muppets. And Jamie, my wife and I, we got really, because we're fans of the Muppets, and so this was a really fun project for us to start putting together.
Yeah.
And now we've convinced ourselves that this needs to be made. Like, we think this has this has legs, I think.
Okay, yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Are you? Yeah.
Does it have
Are you a fan
legs?
of the Muppets? First off,
does it have legs, or does it have like an arm? It's just down there controlling you where the legs should be.
The Muppets are real, so they do have legs. They're real.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Conscious beings.
You asked me if I'm into the Muppets. I mean, I love the Muppets. You can't have if you did not experience the Muppets growing up, like, you've just missed out completely on your childhood, and you should blame someone for that, frankly. But yes, I love the Muppets. I love almost every Muppet movie. So this is a lot of fun too, because as a well, you know what? Before we get into my emotional or personality quirks, let's say, tell me what your movie is first, James. I'm excited to hear what you and your wife came up with.
Okay, so we had to think about which movie has a great ensemble that we can, pluck different and place different Muppets in that role. And the first movie that came to mind with a great ensemble, great movie, and would be great for a Muppets remake is Ocean's 11, starring George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Andy Garcia.
Okay, all right.
I think it lends itself to a great Muppets casting.
Okay. All right. So who are we keeping? Who are we getting rid of?
So we are keeping. We had to keep George Clooney because he's like the main character. He is Danny Ocean, and so he has to build the team. And so you need somebody who's grounded. So George is the grounded person. His love interest, Julia Roberts, Tess, and so I think she also needs to be a live action human. And usually in most Muppet movies. Now, you have, like, evil Muppets, that get cast in certain roles, but for the most part, the antagonist of the film is also usually human. So Andy Garcia will be remaining in human form as Terry Benedict, the owner of the casino that the team is trying to rob. And I'll go down my list because, again, it's Ocean's 11, so I won't linger on too many of these guys, but starring in place of Brad Pitt, who plays Rusty Ryan. He's the cool cat. He's a cool dog. Yeah. So I thought Ralph would be the perfect person to play Rusty Ryan in Brad Pitt's role.
And he's handsome.
Kermit the Frog. And he's handsome. He's handsome. What's not to love? Ralph's got he's got game. Playing Matt Damon's character, Linus, who's earnest, who wants to help, who wants to improve himself. He's building his own confidence up, and he needs to rise to the occasion. I think that's the perfect role for Kermit. Kermit the Frog, of course, he has his moments of being nervous, but like a true hero, he always, comes through with the win. Gonzo. I'm casting Gonzo in the role of Yen, who is the acrobat who gets hired to do the flips and to jump around. We know Gonzo loves to be a daredevil, so I can imagine him wearing that daredevil attire and doing some flips and everything while being in the safe in order to crack it from the inside. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
The person to play Bernie Mac's character, Frank Catton, you may remember him. He was the blackjack cards dealer. He is the inside guy who works at the casino. I think to play the comedian, you need to be a comedian. So that has to go to Fozzie Bear. Waka Waka.
Waka Waka.
I think that's a perfect casting. So Fozzie will be Bernie Mac's character. The person playing Livingston Dell, the computer nerd, the sweaty guy who's doing all the tech stuff, I think Scooter is the perfect person to play that. He looks like he can fill that role. Mm-hmm. Now, the brothers, who are played by, I'm forgetting the other guy's name, something Kane, and Ben Affleck's brother, Casey Affleck. Those two characters, those two brothers in that movie.
Yeah.
I think the dynamic duo in that role would be Bunsen and Beaker. They're always together, hanging out, and so they're always working together. So I think those would be really good casting for the brothers.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle, who plays Basher Tar, he likes chaos. He likes blowing things up. He's in it for the thrill of it. So none other than Animal. I think Animal would be a perfect person to play that character. He's the guy that activates the EMP and just blacks out Las Vegas entirely. I think that's an Animal characteristic.
Okay, all right.
Now, this one, I'm getting creative with this one. Now, Saul Bloom, played by, I'm blanking on his name right now, but Saul Bloom, he's like the older guy. He's a rich guy. He's the guy who's like taking in a very valuable piece of jewelry that needs to be placed inside the safe. Mm-hmm. And so he's rich. He's over the top. He needs to act like he is having a medical emergency. Mm-hmm. So when I think of an actor, when I think of over the top, when I think of rich, I think of Miss Piggy.
Oh,
I think Miss Piggy would do fantastic in that role. Mm-hmm. Overacting and overhyping her situation in order to distract.
Yes.
So I think, and plus she can dress in really rich attire.
Great.
Final castings. Sam the Eagle. Mm-hmm. He's going to be playing Ruben, the Las Vegas business mogul. He's the one that was done wrong by Terry Benedict, so he wants justice. Mm-hmm. Sam Eagle is a very composed, justice-loving individual. The bodyguard who beats up Danny Ocean, who quote unquote beats up Danny Ocean in the back, room and locked up. Yeah. That's going to be played by the two old men who laugh at everything, Statler and Waldorf.
Yes.
I think because they'll be in on it with Danny. So once the doors closes, they'll be like trying to like pretend they're beating up Danny, and they'll be joking like, oh, take that. Oh. I think that'd be hilarious.
Now that could, is that your Statler or is that your Santa Claus? Because I think that's...
That's how they sound. I think I nailed it.
Yeah.
Lastly, Uncle Deadly, he's like this kind of creepy looking guy, a Muppet. He'll be playing Terry Benedict's head of security, his right-hand man in the control booth. So he's going to be kind of like a villainous kind of character. And lastly, because no Muppets movie would be complete without the Swedish chef. He will be playing himself, but he will be working in one of the casino restaurants where Danny, Tess, and Terry Benedict, there's a scene where they're there. And so I think it'd be fantastic if all three of those live action characters are talking to each other and they're going back and forth, and then you have Swedish chef walking in, yes. Let me just get this chicken, and I think it would just be hilarious while they're carrying the scene as straight as possible. You just have the Swedish chef like fighting a lobster or like a chicken in the background. I think that'd be perfect. So Ocean's 11 needs to be Muppetized. I think we need to get this going.
Let's do
Hashtag
it.
Muppetize Ocean's 11.
Okay. That's going to be a long hashtag. I have such a big smile on my face because I can just picture all of that. And I can hear all of that. I think anybody who knows anything about the Muppets, like, Muppets only make movies better.
Yes.
I dare anyone to argue with me. I mean, it could be a horror movie. It could be a romance. Like, Muppets only make movies better. And I think that Muppets would make my movie better, James. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I'm going to recast it entirely, the humans included. But I would like to cast, I would like to present for your consideration, Pride, and Prejudice, and Muppets.
Ooh, I like the sound of that. I really do.
Pride and Prejudice and Muppets. So here's where I talk a little bit about what is wrong with me. What's wrong with me is that I love Reylo, and Star Wars broke my heart. So,
Yes.
and that relationship is sort of loosely based on Pride and Prejudice. And actually, I believe it was Daisy Ridley who was when she was reading for the part to audition for Rey for Star Wars. She had to read parts of Pride and Prejudice. I think Adam did as well. So, here we go. My version of Pride and Prejudice and Muppets. Mr. Darcy is Adam Driver. Right? And he is going to be playing this. He's going to be playing this completely straight. He is going to be surly, and he's going to be so intense and dark and mysterious. And the Muppets are going to be dancing around him like frickin' tomorrow. And he will never break character, and he will be so straight, and it'll be awesome. And then Miss Elizabeth Bennet, my apologies to Daisy Ridley. I'm kicking her out of the equation. Miss Elizabeth Bennet is going to be played by Ana de Armas, because I think that she's beautiful, she's stunning, and she has that equal sort of that look in her eyes, right? That intensity, that hither stare, whatever, come hither stare. So it's going to be Adam Driver as Mr. Darcy, Ana de Armas as Elizabeth Bennet, and everyone else is going to be a Muppet. So,
excellent. I love it.
So her sister Jane Bennet, I think, is going to be Miss Piggy. Now Jane, the character, is, she's sort of meek but beautiful, but she doesn't know she's beautiful. She's so humble, sort of the opposite of Miss Piggy. So I would just love to see Miss Piggy pretending to be all humble and demure and just not being able to do it. So I think that would just be hilarious. And then her love interest, right, is going to be Mr. Bingley, and that's going to be Kermit, right? Because Mr. Bingley he's affable and very friendly. Everybody loves Mr. Bingley, and that's going to be Kermit the Frog. And then Miss Piggy is just so in love and infatuated with him, and Miss Piggy is going to pretend to be all demure, and she's not going to be able to handle it, and she's just going to attack him, in the middle of the scenes, and everyone's just going to ignore that that's actually happening. So, all right, we've got Adam Driver, we've got as Mr. Darcy, Ana de Armas is Elizabeth Bennet, Kermit is Mr. Bingley, Miss Piggy is Jane Bennet, John Wickham, who is this character who comes in and he's the soldier, who is very charismatic and charming, but has a dark secret and is actually not such a great guy. He's going to be played by, do you remember this one? Link Hogthrob? He's like sort of this very...
I don't.
He's the heartthrob of like all of the pigs, of all the Muppet pigs. So, he's going to bring
I'm
that...
Googling right now.
Right, he's going to bring that that heartthrob or hog-throb sort of swagger into that character. We've got...
Nice deep dive.
Yeah, thank you. I was really searching for that one. Mr. Collins, who is the Bennet's cousin, who becomes a suitor, and he is... he is this churchman. He's this pastor, but he's very sort of ugly, and he has this very creepy way about him, and he wants to marry his cousin Elizabeth, and he won't take no for an answer, and he just sort of doesn't even know how much people think that he's creepy. I was a little torn on what to do, who Mr. Collins would be, but I'm going to go with Fozzie. I'm going to go with Fozzie Bear, because Fozzie doesn't know. Fozzie doesn't know when he's not funny, right? He's just like, ha 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 ha.
Right.
You'll marry me, right? Because I'm so funny. Waka waka waka. Won't you be my wife? Exactly. So that's going to be that.
Yeah.
All right, now you've got the Bennet parents. You've got Mr. and Mrs. Bennet. Mr. Bennet sort of is more loose with his daughters than he ought to be, and he's got this silly, ridiculous wife who's high anxieties, got all of these nerves, and he sort of just ignores her, and they're sort of louder and not mischievous, but they're a little more dramatic, right? And they make a scene sometimes. I think that this pair most naturally would go to Gonzo and Camilla the chicken, who he loves so much. So it would be Camilla going, bark, 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 right? She's just losing her mind all the time. And Gonzo is like, sure, whatever, Camilla. And being Gonzo and doing ridiculous things. Like allowing your little daughters to run off with the soldier man or whatever and almost elope and all that. So Lydia Bennett, who's the airhead sibling who almost ruins the family, I think she's going to be Janice, the guitar player from the band, from Animals Band, because she's just like, oh yeah, nice. I'm so cool and whatever, and she's going to go and almost ruin the family. And I think the youngest Bennett sisters, Kitty and Mary, the forgotten middle sibling who's always angry and the serious one, I think that this is a natural place for the old heckling men. But we're going to put them in dresses. And just let them comment.
How
on
progressive
the family.
of you.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, look, it's progressive or not, there are not a lot of female Muppets. Let's be honest. I think we need more women Muppets. I'm going to take a stand right now, James, and say that we need more women in Muppetry. And I'd like to...
more Lady Muppets.
Exactly, more Lady Muppets. And I feel like, too, Miss Piggy, right, being the only, like, really famous female character, that she would not be satisfied with only being one character, that she's going to be jumping in and knocking people out and, like, trying to do every female character in this movie. So expect Miss Piggy to cameo as about almost every woman in here, because she needs her screen time. She's not happy that Ana de Armas has the lead, and she needs as much screen time as possible. So, yes, Miss Piggy will be almost every female character at some point in this movie. Lady Catherine de Bourgh, who's the very rich woman who's the aunt of Mr. Darcy and doesn't want them to get married. I couldn't really think of a good Muppet for her, so I'm just going to throw Animal in there and let him go crazy. And see...
Why not?
See how Ana de Armas and Adam Driver play straight opposite of Animal. And of course, you need a lot of servants. The Swedish chef is going to be running around in the background, serving all of these fancy dinners and parties. And it's just going to be wonderful. And I can't wait to see that. So I feel like Adam Driver next to any Muppet would make my life complete. So what do you think, guys? Is it going to be Ocean's 11 with Muppets, or is it going to be Pride and Prejudice and Muppets? Let us know which one you want to get made, or what other movie needs to have Muppets in it. And James and I will create the dream castings for that. And those will get made soon. So hashtag ladies and Muppets.
Room. Yeah. No, there's enough room for two Muppets movies. They can always punch one out after the other. So the Muppets Ocean 11, Pride and Prejudice, and Muppets coming to a theater near you. So just expect that once this gains traction, we're gonna get this going.
That's right. Never enough Muppet movies. So yeah.
All right. Well, I love that segment. Yeah, again, let us know what movie you would Muppetize, and comment down below. Again, we are at Hub on Hollywood on all the social media platforms. Jamie, kind of wrapping up the show, I do want to leave folks with in case they missed this review earlier in the week, I watched A Million Miles Away starring Michael Pena. It's based on the true life story of Jose Hernandez, who was a migrant farm worker as a child, and eventually grew up to be an astronaut after a lot of hard work and determination. A movie that I highly recommend. So here's my short review of A Million Miles Away starring Michael Pena. Million Miles Away, a biopic about Jose Hernandez and his path from a migrant farm worker to becoming an engineer and eventually an astronaut. It's a tale of perseverance, community, and sacrifices to accomplish a seemingly impossible dream. Inspired by the true story and book Reaching for the Stars, A Million Miles Away stars Michael Pena as Jose Hernandez, Rosa Salazar, Julio Cesar Cedillo, Garrett Dillahunt, directed by Alejandra Marquez Abella. Now, first and foremost, I want to say that being Latino myself, I really resonated with this story because I have family members who used to be migrant workers. They too underwent the same hardships of not only grueling manual labor in tough conditions, but also being taken advantage of by people who didn't fairly pay them for their hard work. In my grandpa's case, the owner of the farm calling immigration after a harvest so they could be deported without pay. But my grandfather going back over and over again, season after season, to work and try to raise money for his family. So already I really related and empathized with these characters. That being said, this movie, standing on its own, was a very enjoyable and inspiring film. We are first introduced to the 7-year-old version of Jose, played by Juan Pablo Monterrubio, and we see that despite traveling every year from Mexico to Northern California to work the fields with his family, he is smart, he has big dreams, and after watching one of the lunar launches live on TV back in the 60s, his family makes the sacrifice of staying in California so he could have a stable education. Then we fast forward to him graduating college and eventually getting a job at a government facility as an engineer. Now, this is the first time that we see how he's viewed in a mostly all-white workplace. Initially, he's mistaken as the janitor when he introduces himself as the new employee. After that, he's not taken seriously, he's given menial tasks, and he's afraid of embracing his culture. For example, like his music, he's afraid of playing it in the parking lot while he's pulling into work because people keep giving him double looks, and even going as far as not packing the food that his mom makes, like enchiladas, because he just wants to have a plain sandwich because that's what everybody else at work is eating. So he wants to fit in and not stand out any more than he already is. And it's not until he finds an issue with a defense laser project that he starts being appreciated and his work being taken seriously. Then we follow his relationship with this woman who later becomes his wife and the mother of their 4 children. And when they're first dating, he tells her that, I really want to become an astronaut one day. And she literally laughs in his face because the idea of him getting the chance to do that was unbelievable at the time. But after years of hard work and applying year after year after year for 12 years straight, he finally gets his shot, and the rest is history. But, of course, not after some more trials and tribulations while working at NASA. Now, at first thought, I wasn't sure if Michael Pena was the right person to portray Jose Hernandez, not based on his talents, because he is very talented, he's great, but rather his age. Michael Pena, he's 47 years old, and he had to portray someone throughout the years, from the college years to when he went into space. But honestly, I think Pena looked the parts throughout the entire thing, and I was able to quickly get over that initial concern. I thought it was well acted from Pena and everybody else in the cast. The film kept moving at a very good pace, moving it from different periods of Jose's life with ease. And the movie also looked great with some really nice creative shots, including the opening sequence when the characters are first introduced. Overall, I really enjoyed A Million Miles Away. It has a great message and great representation of a population that is underappreciated and underrepresented, not just when it comes to Latinos and Hispanics, but migrant workers in general, who often are invisible, whose hopes and dreams and aspirations are often ignored or not even considered. So this film is streaming on Amazon Prime right now, and I think it's definitely a really good watch, especially with your kids who might be inspired by Jose's story of not giving up in order to reach your dreams. So tell me, have you seen A Million Miles Away? Let me know what you think. Comment down below. As always, I'm James, and this was a Hub on Hollywood review.
Excellent review, James. So much great content to watch. Is there anything else that you are watching at the moment?
You know what I want to watch, though? I want to watch a new Zorro movie.
Yes!
My campaign, that's right, my campaign for Solo for Zorro has not ended. It's not going to end. We're going to get this movie made, and we're going to watch it. We're going to review it. Yeah, in case you missed the past couple episodes, I am on this campaign. Xolo Maridueña. He is from Blue Beetle, Cobra Kai, Parenthood. He's blown up right now. I think he's the perfect person to be cast in a new Zorro movie. So if you're listening to this, watching this, hashtag Xolo for Zorro. We need to get this going.
James is on a mission.
Again, I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy. I go crazy.
I'm not crazy.
Right? Totally believable. Totally believable.
No, that's all I'm watching.
All
That's
right,
all I'm
guys.
hoping for.
So,
what are you up to?
please share Xolo for Zorro, or James might lose it, guys. We've got to help him out. Help me out.
We need
Everybody,
this.
we need it. We absolutely need it. I've been watching a lot of Naruto, which is wonderful that all of these, all of the shows that you grew up watching, all of the little animes that you grew up watching as well, that some of us grew up watching, are available in their entirety on the streaming services. I believe we're watching it on Hulu, but just sharing these shows like Naruto with my son, and getting to explore a lot of the themes of never giving up, and even when you fail, like getting up again. And I love it. So I love watching it with him. So right now we're diving into Naruto, which is thousands of episodes, to be honest. So woohoo! It's a great time for Naruto. It's a great time for One Piece. If you're looking for something to get obsessed with, hey, plenty of anime readily available. You guys should hop in.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited. Let us know what you are watching at home. What should we be watching? Reach out to us at Hub on Hollywood. Also, again, we're talking about the strikes, the actor strike, the writer strike. If you are a writer, if you are an actor affected by the ongoing strike, please reach out. We would love to have you on the Hub on Hollywood, especially if you are locally based here in New England. Shoot us a message and we can get you on the podcast. But Jamie, jam-packed episode, a lot of great stuff. Until next week, though, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Waka waka.
Waka waka.